named By and Large to build giant spaceships to evacuate humans for 5 years while little robots clean up the mess and make Earth great again. Fast forward to the events of the movie, and as I mentioned before, what was supposed to last for 5 years has now lasted 700. And that leads us to what is a pretty obvious claim at this point. The Axiom has got to be out of food. Trying to stretch 5 years worth of rations into 700 just ain't gonna work. When I go a week without buying groceries, I'm down to open-faced peanut butter sandwiches and trying to determine if I can drink
What?
barbecue sauce for my daily recommended calories. Maybe they put extra food on board. I hear your busy little fingers typing in the comments already, and yeah, I would say that's practically a guarantee.
Yeah. Actually, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not literally collecting.
He is packing extra as standard operating practice for
Wow.
today's space travelers. For example, NASA, for an average 7-day flight, will have 2 extra days of food on board with them. But when it comes to the Axiom, we're talking about 140 times the amount of food they would need for the planned 5-year excursion. 140 times! Even if By and Large got wildly ambitious and stocked the Axiom with, say, 10 years of food, an additional 2 times the planned trip length, people would still start going hungry hundreds of years before the events we see in the movie. Plus, it's not like people are rationing out their meals. Unlike Matt Damon on the surface of Mars, everyone is unaware of how much food they have left. So the idea of rationing in order to conserve for the long haul isn't a thing they're worried about, and yet the food keeps coming. But from where? It's also important to note that food is going to be different than other limited resources like fuel or water, because there are easy ways for the Axiom to harvest those things for the several centuries where they're in space. In a special feature captaining the Axiom, we learn 2 important details about the ship. For one, the ship is made out of a nuclear-embedded alloy.
The Axiom is a second-generation General Dynamics Type 3 hull configuration made of a patented nuclear-embedded positronium alloy.
Which would seem to indicate that it's running on nuclear power. While food supplies will quickly dwindle after a few years, nuclear reactors get a whole lot more bang for the buck. For example, when fully reacted, 1 kilogram of uranium-235, popular reaction agent, produces as much energy as 1,500 tons of coal. So a small amount of that stuff will cover you for quite a long time. And it's not like uranium is gonna turn to mush like a week-old avocado. The time it takes for half a sample of uranium-235 to decay is over 700 million years. So don't need to worry about the expiration date on that one. For water, the Captaining the Axiom video also informs us that the ship is headed to the Kuiper Belt.
And here's your destination, Captain. The Kuiper Belt, that enigmatic frontier of our solar system, where fragments of our primordial protoplanetary disk still wait to be explored.
This is a part of space that's still, believe it or not, in our own solar system, but is beyond the planets. And all along, we all thought that the solar system ended after your very educated mother just sent you 9 pizzas. Take that, 6th grade science class. Film theory be dropping knowledge all over this his house.
Yeah, Matt Pat, except for the fact that Pluto isn't even a planet anymore. Cause like film theory ain't dropping knowledge bombs all over this his house anymore. Or not you expecting she's doing that. 6th grade science is actually right, and Matt Pat. Pluto's not a planet, Yeah, that's right, Matt Pat. Until you consider that Pluto is not a planet anymore.
The Kuiper Belt is filled with frozen, asteroid-sized chunks of various substances like methane, ammonia, and you guessed it, water. So it's not going to be hard to imagine that the Axiom could harvest
Water, you're thinking.
some ice around it. But guess what you won't be finding on rocks floating through the empty void of space? Cows, wheat, other random foodstuffs. So fuel and water could technically be taken care of, but you just can't make food appear out of nowhere. Or can you? This is the future after all, so maybe they've developed a way to create food out of thin air. Or at least that's what I initially thought until I looked a bit closer. I mean, food needs to come from somewhere, and note that we don't see any animals on the ship other than humans.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Like the fact that we only see that the only animals we see are humans, and the only way they could survive is presumably eating each other.
Unlike water, food is more complicated than simply a bunch of hydrogen and oxygen atoms put together, so you'd need some ingredients for the food from somewhere. And even if they had developed some meal replacement superfood like Soylent, which delivers all your essential calories, it's still... So you'd need some ingredients for the food from somewhere. And even if they had developed some meal replacement superfood like Soylent...
non-spawn.
Which delivers all your essential calories, it still requires plants. Soy. Not even the ship's captain recognizes what a plant is or how it grows.
Where's the thingy? Plant, right.
So what exactly would the hypothetical food be made out of? Also, if the Axiom were somehow able to synthesize food out of thin air, why would it be such a big deal that Earth can grow plants again? Wouldn't they be able to stay on the Axiom or go and colonize a new planet with that kind of technology? Nope, they've definitely run out of food, and yet we see that the population has managed to survive for generations aboard the Axiom. Does that automatically prove that the passengers are eating other passengers? Well, not by itself, but it does color the way that we look at other issues. Issues like, where did the dead people go? The Axiom has been flying around.
Yeah, but that's a pretty morbid question.
For 700 years and started with a population of
Wait, 700 years? That's like, what the? Didn't you just say they were on that for like 7 entire centuries and 70 full decades? 70 full decades or 7 full centuries.